knows about the grind, bubble grind.
Now we have a guy that could probably get in there if you...
It's game day. The Edmonton Oilers hit the road once again.
Good Friday afternoon to you. Welcome to EST Afternoons live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. A clear choice for Edmonton Sports. No Hernan Salas today, no Joaquin Gage. It is me, Mattias Ekholm, with you here from 1 until 3 alongside Zachary Koob Kubusch. Zach to come on the other side of the camera. Gager, he will be back on Monday following, as many are determining around here, my mandatory days off, which... I'm okay being that person that's known for forcing people to take time off, because here's the thing, people. If you have vacation days, use them. Always use them. Don't lose them. And Hernan Salas, he's in Mexico now. I believe he would have landed by now. He's out there, so he'll be back on Easter Monday. Although if the Oilers, or when we know the Oilers' playoff schedule, he'll be back for their pre- and post-game show, the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pre- and post-game show, for that first game, whenever it might be. Lots to get to on the show today. Speaking of the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pre-game show, it is an Oiler game day. Oilers and Sharks coming up down at Rogers Place. Game time 7:30, which means the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pre-game show with Tommy Zach to come today. That's going to get going at 6:30 right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. The Edmonton Oilers are 1 point away from clinching a playoff spot, or also 1 point dropped by the Calgary Flames tonight in their game against the Minnesota Wild. That would also clinch it for the Edmonton Oilers. So lots of notes to get to when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers. I'm sure you've heard of it already by listening to the Oil Stream, but if you haven't right away, we'll go through the big news that has come from, a lot of news that came from the morning skate earlier today, but want to give you a heads up of what's coming up on the show today. Lots to get to. We do want to hear from you. 780-218-9999. That is the River Cree inbox. Home of the Tap 25 restaurant, where the entire menu is 50% off 7 days a week from 2 until 5. That's out at River Cree. You could also jump into the Nasty Chat. Chief Andy, why would you schedule two guys from one show to take holidays at the same time? Sometimes it just happens that way. That's all good. You're going to see Dusty is that if that was the case, that means Lieutenant Eric would not be allowed to take time off at all throughout Thursday or Fridays in the summer, because Dusty will be gone for CFL work on TSN. It's EST Afternoons. There's nothing wrong with having two guys off at the same time. We have a lot of talented people in this office. I'm not one of them, but we got a lot of talented people in this office that we could fill it all out. So, it just worked out for Hernan. Friday next week is a holiday, so he needed to kill one more extra day when it came to his vacations, and there's an overlapping and stuff that happens. So that's why it happens. It's not really, to me, that big of a deal. We've had it at times where I've done the show with Will Fraser in the morning show. Sometimes things just happen and they just work out that way, and we'll make do with it. On the show today, coming up at 1:45, we've got James Herbert from CBS Sports. It is the final regular season weekend of the NBA. Once next week comes around, we're going to be in the play-in tournament. So James Herbert will talk about the ending of the NBA. I love how they schedule it too. Tonight there's a load of games, and then on Sunday it's the final day of the regular season. All the Eastern teams tip off at the same time at 11 o'clock. All the Western teams tip off at the same time at, I think, about 1:30. So I just love how they space that out from East and West, but also I guess there'll be one game that has an Eastern and West meeting each other, but for the most part, it's broken down into conferences, which I think is very awesome. At 1:20 as well, or at 2:20, I should say, Adam Stanley from Sportsnet. He's going to stop by. He's live at Augusta. He's going to join us to talk about what's going on at Augusta. I got it on my left right here. Justin Rose, he still sits atop the leaderboard. He was 1 under today. He's -8 overall on his tournament. Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Bryson DeChambeau, and the Canadian, Corey Connors, they all sit 2 shots back. Rory and DeChambeau, they're coming up close to the end of their second round, while Connors is on the 9th hole. Scheffler is on the 6th hole. So we'll get Adam Stanley's thoughts on the Masters, and we'll keep you up to date when it comes to what's going on in the Masters, especially when it comes to Corey Connors, because I don't know what, and I can't wait to ask Adam this. I want to know what it is about Corey Connor's games that he does well at the Masters. He's got 3 top 10s in his career. Struggled the last couple of years there. Was cut 2 years ago. Last year, I think, was tied for 38th. But for the most part, for whatever reason, when he goes to Augusta, he has good rounds. And even last year when he was tied for 38, his first and last round were excellent. It was the middle rounds. He struggled on the Friday and Saturday. Today, right now, knocking on wood that I don't change this, but he isn't struggling. So that's all to come on the show today as well. And then the question I want to throw out there to everyone is like, look, the Oilers, they're going to be making the playoffs. They're getting that 1 point for the magic number to make the playoffs. Either they're going to get it at some point in their final 4 games, and the Calgary Flames are going to lose it at some point, and the Edmonton Oilers are going to be in the playoffs. So we know that. But we also know that the feeling around this team is a lot different as we head into the playoffs. At the start of the year, it was cup or bust. It was all Stanley Cup, but now we've seen all these injuries, and I'll get to the updates here right away from Chris Knobloch for tonight's game. But I think there's a little bit more worry that has crept in slightly to Edmonton Oilers fans. So the question I'm going to throw out there, and Zach, I don't know if you have time to quickly jump in on this question that I'll ask as well, your thoughts as well, but text it 780-218-9999 or jump into the nasty chat. Your expectations of the Oilers playoffs. Has it changed? Is it the same? Where are you when it comes to what constitutes a successful season for the Edmonton Oilers this year? We don't care about the regular season. It never was going to matter about the regular season. It was always about the playoffs. If I asked this question going into the season, it would have been Stanley Cup. Has that changed with what we've seen over the last month, especially with the injury part of this team? Has your expectations of this team changed? 780-218-9999 or jump into the nasty chat. Zach, your thoughts. What is your expectation of the Edmonton Oilers now of what would be a successful season once the playoffs is over?
Well, I don't think the expectations of a successful season has changed. It's really cup or bust at this point for the Oilers, no matter if they have injuries or if they were fully healthy, sort of like they were last year. But the worry is kind of creeping in a little bit because of those injuries. Like it's sort of clouded in fog right now. Some players are, they changed. Like now Frederick, he's supposed to be back for game 1 or game 2 as according to head coach Chris Knobloch. But it's so bad to see like a battered team like this. This is a worst time to get injured, right? And the Oilers are missing some of their best players. Of course, they would be playing if it is playoffs. Sure, rest them up, but are they really 100%?
Exactly.
If they got to go, like game 1, sure, if they're 60, 70%, that doesn't really, it's not that bad. Like you've seen an injured Draisaitl before, absolutely tear it up against the Flames, so on and so on. But there is that doubt, that seed of doubt that's planted now just because of the status of every player. And if there is a Frederick inserted in the lineup, what will he do? Sure, you saw him in 7 minutes played, but that injury still lingers.
Great 7 minutes.
It's just bad. Yeah, well, greatest 7 minutes of physicality you've seen all season from the Oilers. No, I'm just kidding. But the expectation of success is still there. It's cup or bust, but there are doubts in the first
if they don't win the cup this year, and I'll change that just for everyone here, okay? They don't get to the Stanley Cup final this year. It is borderline a failure of a season. That where we're still at with this, because that's what it would have been at the start of this year. Is that still where it is then, I guess, as we go into the playoffs? Not 100, knowing exactly where these players are. Now, I will get to the update here of the Edmonton Oilers. As I said, for those that were listening to the Oilers stream, you would know this news. If for those that are just tuning in, here's what's happening tonight when the Oilers take on the San Jose Sharks. This is according to Chris Knobloch. Mattias Ekholm will be in the lineup, which is a bit of a change from what we were saying out in the hangout when we got it. He wasn't skating in the top 3 pairings, but he will draw into the lineup tonight. Stuart Skinner back with the team. He will back up tonight and we'll get 2 of the last 4 starts. The starting goalie for the playoffs to be determined, which I do want to, also discuss here. Leon Draisaitl will be out, but he will play before the end of the season. Frederick might not be able to play game 1, while Evander Kane might be able to play game 1, but timeline to be determined. Knobloch also didn't want to comment on the possibility of an AHL conditioning stint for Kane. Kane would have to agree to this assignment, which we did get a text from Cozy into the River Cree inbox. What's your opinion on Kane potentially not being willing to go to the AHL for a conditioning stint? If Landeskog is willing to do so, why can't Kane? I'd agree. I would love for the idea of him to get a little bit of game action in without, having to put him right into the playoffs. Like you want to get a couple of legs under him. I don't know why you wouldn't want to just do that. Just to, yourself, I feel like you'd want to just shake a little bit of the rust off before you get into the lineup. So I don't know, but I don't think 1 or 2 games in Bakersfield really makes that much of a difference as well as to being prepared for the playoffs. So I would prefer it, but I also am not one that would be upset with Evander Kane over it. And Bronco Nick does say into the nasty chat, he did just have the new baby. So that's also a part of this too. Maybe doesn't want to be away from home for that extra few days right now. The flip side to that is, when you're in the playoffs, you're going to be gone for a few days anyways. So like you are a professional athlete and you do have to be away from family at points. Would you not just be starting your playoffs a week early?
As unfortunate as it is, it's your job to really, you have to work away from your family, right? You have to put that work in. You have to go away for some time and make those sacrifices. And Evander Kane being that sort of player who does play rough and rowdy, and especially once playoff time comes, everybody takes that extra step. You'd think he'd want to take those extra couple games to go down to the AHL and really feel the game once again. He is a player that, sure, I'd put trust in him that he could be injected into the lineup and possibly make that difference and be that physical player that he is. But it would just make sense to go down there. And I also agree that you can't really say that it's bad if he didn't want to go do it either. But it is a safer option to go play. Yeah,
it's June 10th last year was his last hockey game. I like it then, but now again, so the flip side is that really one game in Bakersfield really going to make a difference in this case or not? But yeah, it's been a long time since he's played a game. So I do want to get into the nasty chat here. As I said, expectations of the team for playoffs as we evaluate this season when it all is said and done. However that is, I'm not saying it's going to go one way or another, but with these injuries, with the unknowns, Frederick might not being there for the start of game 1. Who knows about Kane? We don't know how hurt are Draisaitl and McDavid and Ekholm going to be as we get to the playoffs. Even Skinner in that case, not knowing who the starting goalie is going to be. Does that change your expectation? And basically what I'm getting from the nasties out there, it's not changing your opinion at all. Shoggy and St. Albert, cup or bust. Anything less would be a fail. Bronco Nick, we're within 1 goal, so cup or bust. Statue Boss Production, anything less than a cup is a fail. Given their current injury issues, I expect first round exit and significant off-season changes. Bronco Nick, Barry the Cheater. I have no idea what to expect with the current Oilers who are all out currently. And then that's why I was wondering, are people changing their feelings about what is the expectation for these playoffs as we get there a week from today? Would be maybe we'll be on the eve of the start of the NHL playoffs. I don't know. Again, we still don't know when the Oilers would necessarily be playing, but could this potentially impact if the Oilers lose to the LA Kings, do you sit there and go, yes, this is a failure? Or do you sit there and go, this is not what we expected at the start of the season. This is not what we thought from this team at the start of the season. But last year, they were extremely healthy. This year, they got the run of injuries, and they were very unlucky on that. And it didn't matter who they were, whether they went and made a move for goaltending or whatever. You lose McDavid, you lose Draisaitl, you lose Ekholm late in the season, and they get banged up. That puts you in a rough spot going into the playoffs on to next year.
And that it really does. It'd be hard to gauge a team. You saw them the other day. They were basically, if they didn't play McDavid against the Blues, that would be almost a preseason lineup. It would be one of the worst lineups that I've seen in a long time from the Oilers, and just because of injuries. Yeah,
you're a little young to remember those early Decade of Darkness.
Yeah, I didn't have the pleasure to watch a lot of those Decade of Darkness games, but looking at the lineup with that, if that's something that carries into playoffs, say, I don't know, they play game 1, they force Draisaitl in or something, somebody gets nicked up. Everybody plays nicked up in the playoffs. There's no excuse there. It's hard to really harken at that fact and put it all on the team saying, well, yeah, no, that's a complete failure. If you're walking on one leg and you try and you see them fall flat, you take it a little bit less, but it still would be a failure at the end of the day, I would say. But then you kind of give them the benefit of the doubt that they were completely injured.
We are live in the William Huff studio. Since 1952, William Huff has provided industry-leading advertising solutions for thousands of valued clients. Their unparalleled customer service, combined with decades of industry experience and desire to make every job the very best it can be, is what they call the William Huff Advantage. Visit their website today, williamhuff.com, or you can also give them a shout, 780-454-4536. Keep those comments coming in to the River Cree inbox, or as well as into the Nasty Chat. As I've mentioned earlier, 1:45, James Herbert from CBS Sports will stop by to talk a little bit about the end of the NBA regular season. 1:20, Adam Stanley from Augusta will join us. He's of Sportsnet to talk about the Masters, but we want to continue this discussion and hear your thoughts in the Nasty Chat and in the River Cree inbox. Also, hit that thumbs up button. Hit that thumbs up button for Zach. Do it for Zach. Do it for Hernan. Do it for Gager. You don't have to do it for me. I'm not going to go that way. Do it for those three guys. Do it for Big Uke, who's still here watching some Masters
Legend
with us here. Give a thumbs up for Big Uke, who's watching the Masters here at EST Studio after his wonderful appearance on the EST Hangout. When we come back here on the EST Afternoons, we'll continue in the inbox. Here's Zach Kubusch with a sports update.
Mattias Ekholm slots back in for the Oilers against the Sharks. Stuart Skinner returns to the bench as a backup to Calvin Pickard, who starts tonight. And Leon Draisaitl is still day-to-day. He'll be out for today's game, according to head coach Chris Knobloch. Tune into the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show at 6:30 as Tom Gazzola tees up the action right here on EST. And there's 4 other games around the league. Montreal with a chance to clinch the final playoff spot in the East with a win over the Senators in regulation. Minnesota can also clinch with a win over the Flames in any fashion, while the Red Wings battle the Lightning and the Pens meet the Devils. At the Masters, it's Justin Rose holding top spot at 8 under par at the end of his day, while Corey Connors, the Canadian, shares second place with Bryson DeChambeau, Rory McIlroy, and Scotty Scheffler at 6 under par. Connors playing 9 holes through his day. In baseball, the Jays and Orioles kick off a 3-game set. There's 15 games on tap around the MLB. And on the court, Toronto visits Dallas. Magic and Pacers tip off, while the Cavs and Knicks throw down on a 15-game NBA schedule. This sports update is brought to you by Windsor Plywood Leduc, locally owned and operated since 1993. They're more than just plywood. They offer everything from doors and flooring to decking, fencing, and custom millwork. Windsor Plywood Leduc. They're the experts you need to know. The conversation continues when we get back from break. I'm Zachary Koob, and you're up to date.
Get your fix every single game with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Whether it's breaking down the starting lineup, predicting key matchups, or diving deep into the game's biggest moments, Tom and Hernan are here to give you the best insight and analysis in the city. After the final horn, get the breakdown of every key moment, performance, and player reactions. It's your one-stop shop for all things game day. Catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Craving a late night snack? Hit the Banquet for our new late night happy hour. Sunday to Thursday, 9 p.m. till close. Try favorites like sweet and spicy lettuce wraps or our Banquet burger and fries, all at happy hour prices. The Banquet. Get real. Play hard.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for signage from print to design and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of experience, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. Visit us online at williamhuff.com.
Love is in the air. I love you. And you? And you? And you! Why choose between your beloved items? Sentinel Storage, keeping your treasures safe to be loved again. Try 4 weeks free. Details at sentinelstorage.ca.
We're back on EST Afternoons. Matt Iwanyk, Zachary Koob Kubusch with you here. Reminder, 3 o'clock. We got the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne coming up later tonight, 6:30. That is the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show with Tommy and Zach as well. Zach being the good soldier as Hernan is gone for the next week. He will have pre- and post-game shows for you as the Oilers have their final 4 games to wrap up the season. Jay came in. Scotty Scheffler, end of round 2 leader, plus 325 on Coolbay. He's like, we got to ride. So we rode. Scheffler did drop a stroke, but he's 5 under through 7 holes. He's 3 back of Rose. McIlroy ends today at -6. He's 2 back. DeChambeau is on 18, so we'll see how he ends. He's 1 back of Rose. So Scheffler, he'd have to make 4 shots in the final, 11 holes? Possible. Very possible. There's a lot of eagleable par 5s. Amen corner and stuff. So there's strokes to be had for Scotty Scheffler. So we'll see what he has there. Coming up in a little over 20 minutes time, James Herbert from CBS Sports. He'll stop by to talk some NBA. But we are talking some Edmonton Oilers. Want to jump into the nasty chat. First segment, started off talking, but what's the expectation for you heading into these playoffs of what is successful and what is not for an Edmonton Oilers season, based on now knowing what the status of the Oilers are, or lack of knowing, but knowing that there are players that are injured. But it's not changing a lot of people's opinion for the most part, although for some it is. We had a C-Run going Western Conference Final and not showing up like they did against Colorado, and it being a coin flip, it would still be successful in his eyes. Queen Beanie, anything less than cup is a failure. Need some chemistry on the lines. Injuries don't help. Ekholm back should make a difference if he is healthy, although that's the big thing. If is a very big question mark when it comes to, is this team, where are these guys at? And we really don't know. Now we'll have an idea of what we could see out of Mattias Ekholm, but it's also how much pain is he playing through? Last time we saw him play, that was that game against Dallas on the Wednesday night. The next day they were in Seattle, and he was ruled out due to maintenance, and it hasn't played since until tonight. So we don't actually even know what was the injury when it came to Mattias Ekholm. Eve J, I don't know why everyone is sweating the Kings. Don't put them on a pedestal. We have the game breakers. We've beaten them 3 times in a row, and people are coming back. Here's what I'll say why you should sweat the LA Kings a little bit. When they're a team that doesn't play that 1-3-1 team anymore. They have had a season this year where they can go and put up a little bit more offense if they've needed to go put up just a little bit more offense. Now they haven't done, and they don't have a massive amount of goal scorers or anything like that. But it's not like they're not used to scoring points. When it comes to, if you're going to sit there and say we've beaten them 3 times in a row, I could also then, that's where I come with I'm worried about beating a same team 4 years in a row. That is something that is very difficult to do. If you can, and the argument against the 3 times in a row or against 4 in a row is that they're different teams, they're different years, they're different playoffs. But if we sit there and say, well, they've beaten 3 in a row, then to me, there is still some validity that's hard to also beat a team 4 years in a row. But the thing that I will point to that gives me the most pause for concern, well, it's a combination of 2, is we don't know how fully healthy a Connor and a Leon are. But you also add into that who the goalie is for the LA Kings. And Darcy Kemper is 0.01 away from Connor Hellebuyck in goals allowed average, 1.99 versus 2.01. In terms of save percentage, he's 0.03 off of Connor Hellebuyck, 0.925 versus 0.922. Now, Hellebuyck has played quite a few more games, and he's got a lot more wins. But in the games that he has played, Darcy Kemper isn't far off of producing at a level that we think is going to the just easy Vezina winner in Vasilevsky. Or not Vasilevsky, in Hellebuyck. Vasilevsky is just a little bit off of those 2 guys. You add on to the fact that Kemper knows how to actually go win a Stanley Cup. I'm not saying he's 12-4-4 against the Edmonton Oilers. I'm not going to sit here and say he's an Oiler killer by any stretch of the imagination, but he's not someone I would be dismissing if I was the Edmonton Oilers. Because there's a history there of this season with how good he's been overall through the course of the season, and a history of him when he goes up against the Edmonton Oilers, that he knows how to win those games. I don't think this is a breeze. It is not in 5 like it was last year. This is going to be a tough series. And the LA Kings, they're good at home. And now Big Uke's the one that I will take from him. He brought this up, I think, last week during the Reed Wilkins show. He's saying in 4. But what he said was, you don't have to take multiple games in LA. You just need to take 1. That's all you need to do, as good as they are at home. But still, that if you drop 1 at home, that means you got to go take 2 in LA. So I don't look at the LA Kings as just a breeze. Now, if this team was legit healthy, that might change my feelings of this a little bit. But I think too many people are, and look, I might get bitten, in this. 2 weeks from now, people might say, see, Matt, we told you nothing to worry about, and that's fair. But I think the LA Kings, and especially when I look at goaltending, if Kemper could keep producing, that's going to be a tough guy to beat for the Edmonton Oilers. And this hasn't been a season for the Edmonton Oilers where we've seen them, have those games that we've said, like those offensive production. Like this year hasn't been that year where it's been a lot more fun watching Oilers games because game in, game out, they're just scoring goals. There's been some times this season, even when the big guys are in there, that we've seen scoring droughts when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers. So I don't agree with the sentiment out there that the LA Kings are a team you just don't have to worry about. I'm just jumping into the nasty chat. You can't blame injuries for a season's down failure when management refused to fill the roster holes that would soften the blow. That's fair to Doc. Goaltending would have been the one, I think, maybe that is one of those positions that you're discussing. The other part to that, too, is like, one of the other holes that we knew for this team going into the playoffs is going to be team toughness. And Evander Kane is one of those guys that we know when he's in, like, he brings some of that. But that's part of why you also bring Trent Frederick. If you go out there and you acquired a guy that was hurt, like, it's going to be fascinating to see how many games he plays. Because if he doesn't play, then that adds to this. I could talk here and say, like, yeah, there's a lot of injuries. Frederick being one of those, though, where it's you traded for that guy. You could have went for someone else. You could have used those assets to try to get someone else who you knew was more healthy and would be there, at the time, more likely at the playoffs. That's the part where, yeah, I could agree with that to the Doc, where if things do drop with the Edmonton Oilers, if there was an early exit, I could see where the blame would then be, okay, well, management, though, screwed this up. Then while there were the injuries, there were these other spots that they chose not to address. And had those been there, the Oilers could have went a little bit further.
And they kind of making those moves, especially for Frederick, like they've taken that risk a little bit to get that injured player. And the status at the time was different. Like he was reported day to day. He was supposed to be back a few games before playoffs out. He was, but the injury still lingers. And we've heard from Sean Bell, former NHL player, and Matt Cassian, and people who have struggled with those ankle sprains, where it's just one of those injuries that still nags on no matter what. So instead of getting that healthy player, you get somebody who's, okay, you're supposed to be back. You're supposed to be back. They've kind of gotten the unlucky card, right? Like they've kind of rolled the dice and they got the wrong number. But you just got to roll with it there. Like the plan wasn't to get an injured player who might not be in for game one, who is uncertain to start in the playoffs. You never go out and really understand that unless you're a tanking team. If he's injected into the lineup, he's still going to be physical, but how much will his body really, hold up if he's still ailing with that ankle sprain?
Matt Hyman in the nasty check. Good afternoon, Marty, with 2 question marks. Are you adding those question marks in there?
Marty.
I get referred to as Marty by a lot.
Marty McFly.
I do answer to Marty. It is one of my known names now. And I'm good with it. You could call me Marty. My closest friends call me Marty.
Marty Iwanyk.
One calls me something else that I'm not saying on air. It's based off of Marty, but we're not going there because I don't need people starting to call me that one. Ducky into the River Cree inbox, lose to the Kings, failure, lose second round, failure, lose in the conference final against Dallas or Winnipeg, non-failure. What about Colorado in there, Ducky? I'll throw that one out there. I think both are better this year. Not the same team as last year, so tough comparison of cup or bust mentally. And as we said, when it comes to this, playoffs, it's going to come down to goaltending. Chris Knobloch starting goalie for the playoffs to be determined. So the other part of this, Skinner's going to get 2 games in the last 4 starts. It's not happening tonight. So that means he's going to get 2 out of 3 games because tonight will be Pickard. He's going to get 1 of Winnipeg versus LA. I would assume he gets Sunday against Winnipeg in Winnipeg. Pickard will get Monday here in Edmonton against the LA Kings. And then you would assume then Skinner would get the Wednesday in San Jose. I guess the other question I would throw out there to other fans, what do you need from Skinner? What do you need to see from Pickard? What do you need to see from both? Or is it just one to decide who you want to be the starting goalie for game 1 of the playoffs? I think Sunday, Monday are the 2 critical games here for both goalies. More so for Skinner. Skinner's got to look better than average. Whereas, with what we've seen out of Pickard, like obviously neither goalie can afford to be lit up. Neither goalie could afford to have a very poor game. If both do, but if one does, I think the other guy's probably in pole position, maybe to be game 1 starter. But I think Pickard is the one that could be average against the LA Kings if that's the way it goes. Whereas I think Skinner needs to be a little bit better than average because of how many games recently Pickard has given the Oilers a chance to go win. And there have been some rougher games, we'll say, when it comes to Stuart Skinner. So I think Sunday is going to be very critical if Stuart Skinner is going to be the game 1 starter. Although with that, I will state that I do agree with Ryan Rishaug from the mandate on Monday, which is, if you're dealing with the confidence of these goalies, it's probably a lot easier and a lot better overall to start with Skinner in game 1. And if you need to go to a Pickard, make that change. That if you have to go back to Skinner, he'd be good with it, as opposed to him starting, Pickard starting game 1, Skinner starting backup in game 1. Maybe his confidence is going to be hit even more. That if you have to go back to Skinner because Pickard's not playing well, you might not get the best out of him, where Pickard knows that's his role, that's his job. So I still like the idea of Skinner getting that start in game 1. But it will be fascinating to see how well this plays out, because I think a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, I didn't think we would be in a position where we're having this discussion of who's game 1 starter for the Edmonton Oilers. Zach, you were going to jump in there?
Well, yeah, I feel like Calvin Pickard has been old reliable this entire season. He's been that comfortable backup where you know exactly what you're going to get from him. And it is really down to these 2 games. For Stuart Skinner, wherever he starts, he doesn't have to overly dazzle. He doesn't have to steal a game and play fantastic, but he just has to be that goaltender who looks reliable. And if there is that one break, the 2-on-1 or the breakaway, that he's going to make that save. And Calvin Pickard has done that in those last few games. So it comes down to the bitter end, I really think. And that point to confidence, sure, it is there, but as Chris Knobloch pointed to, they're going to pick the goalie who gives them the best chance to win that day. And they're really not thinking about it right now. I mean, there might be conversations about it, whatever, but it will come down to those 2 starts that Stuart Skinner is expected to have down the stretch. And
I wouldn't say necessarily go 2, because I could see on that Wednesday game in San Jose, it's not a great lineup.
True, that's
and
fair,
I would feel like there is going to be, if you're making the decision at that point, I think you're in a tough spot. You should feel I think if Chris Knobloch's coming out of this weekend and the Monday's game, I'm going to throw it in on the weekend, even though it's not on a weekend. If you're not confident who your goalie is after that, that's not a good spot. Not with where the Oilers are at this season. Like, if they could be a good spot if both goalies are playing great, and you're like, honestly, they're both going to give us a great chance. With where the Oilers are at right now, if Tuesday morning Chris Knobloch wakes up and sits there and goes, I don't know who I'm starting, I think that's a bad spot. And if it's coming down to a San Jose game at the end of the season,
I guess that's unfair.
I'd be surprised by that part. I think they would know. Well, no, it's just like, but to your point, like, I get it. You want to see a little bit more of the Skinner, but I guess it is kind of fair. They didn't have a great lineup last week.
No, not for a while, yeah.
And Pickard had a .931 save percentage in that game. So I guess that it could be somewhat fair to Skinner that, yeah, even if they're sitting out some of these guys, well, Pickard kind of did it already. They weren't sitting out for health, or like rest to a degree. They were injured and stuff. And so maybe you're right there, Zach, on that. It might come down to both games for that decision.
Hopefully it doesn't have to.
Well,
right?
But, okay, really what does it take for you to like... Who would be your starting goalie right now at this moment?
It's got to be Calvin Pickard.
Really?
Well, like...
so then what would Skinner do? Okay, and I'm just making an assumption he starts Sunday, Pickard Monday, as based off of no knowledge of anything. That is just my guess of how things will go. What would you need to see from Skinner on Sunday? Is there anything you can see from Skinner on Sunday that would go, okay, no, actually, he will get the start in my eyes, or should get the start?
No, he just has to be solid. He can't let in that one goal that should be stopped. He's got to just make that save that, it's like, okay, yeah, there we go. You don't have to steal that game. And I guess let me rephrase that. Like I could see Calvin Pickard being the more confident goalie. If he gets put in, you know what he's going to get. He's old reliable. Stuart Skinner with the confidence thing. Like at this point today with Skinner not playing those games, I would put Calvin Pickard in, but Stuart Skinner will be getting those games, and you got to trust him that he will try and make those saves. He can't be jumping around, letting 4 or 5 goals in and, being battered on a pre and post game show. He can't be the highlight of, if there is losses, he can't be the highlight or the low light, I guess. He's got to be a highlight. He's got to be a game changer. He's got to add to the success in the game, but he can't be the reason why the team loses, if that makes any sense.
It does. I will say, we're coming up on a break here, but I will say this, and then this doesn't include playoffs. When I mentioned Darcy Kemper was 12-4-4 against the Edmonton Oilers, that would be regular season. I'm guessing when I'm looking at a hockey reference in their career splits. Yeah, it's regular season. The one thing I will throw this out there. Well, we know Skinner has played in games and beaten the LA Kings in the playoffs. Calvin Pickard career against the LA Kings in 5 games, he's 1-3. So one must have been a relief game he came in with a .910 save percentage, 2.90 goals allowed average. Stuart Skinner against the LA Kings, regular season, 10 games played. He's 6-2-1 with a .941 save percentage and a 1.91 goals allowed average. As I'm sitting here saying Darcy Kemper plays well against the Edmonton Oilers in his career, Stuart Skinner has actually played extremely well against the LA Kings, and I think some of his better games we've ever seen him play with the Edmonton Oilers is against the LA Kings. So if we talk about the history of those type of things, if I'm going to bring that up with Darcy Kemper, I think I got to bring that up with Stuart Skinner as well. This is EST Afternoons in the William Huff studio. Matt Iwanyk, Zachary Koob with you here. Coming up 1:20, we got Adam Stanley from Sportsnet live from Augusta to talk some Masters. We will continue with your texts as well as your messages into the Nasty Chat. But we come back from a break in a Zacticum Sports update. James Herbert from CBS Sports will stop by as it's the end of the regular season in the NBA. We'll get his thoughts on the last few little playoff matchups and who he thinks, which teams are looking good as we head into the playoffs. That's all to come here on EST Afternoons on your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, Edmonton Sports Talk.
With the Flames lost to the Wild, or if the Oilers get at least 1 point against the Sharks, Edmonton will clinch another playoff berth. Stuart Skinner returns to the bench as Calvin Pickard's backup tonight against the Sharks. Mattias Ekholm slots back in as well. With Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch saying this morning, Jake Wallman and Leon Draisaitl are day-to-day. They're both out tonight. Tom Gazzola goes live for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show to preview the action right here on EST. Tune in an hour before puck drop at 6:30. And there's other teams looking to clinch tonight. The Canadiens, if they beat the Senators in regulation, will be back to the playoffs for the first time since 2021. And Minnesota can clinch if they beat the Flames in any fashion. On the links, Canadian Corey Connors has fallen to 4th place. He's at 5 under through 10 holes in round 2. He sits 3 points back from top spot Justin Rose at 8 under at the end of his day. There's 15 games around the MLB. The Jays and Orioles go at it for the first of 3 in Baltimore, and basketball sees 15 games. Raptors challenge the Mavericks. Thunder and Jazz hit the court while the Rockets battle the Lakers. This sports update is brought to you by the Capital Care Foundation. Whether it's a one-time donation or a monthly contribution, every penny counts. Find out how you can donate at capitalcarefoundation.net. Once we get back from break, we talk some Association City with James Herbert from CBS Sports. I'm Zachary Koob, and you're up to date.
The EST Hangout.
The Evander Kane that people are expecting, it's been a couple of years since
That's the pre-cut. You know what you're going to get for him?
years.
You're going to get somebody that probably wants to come in and make a statement and kick ass and help this team win a Stanley Cup.
Doesn't sound like Evander Kane.
I know. You're saying you're playing in the playoff.
Right, but he was also a guy last year that complained about not being in the top 7.
The EST Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage. Weekday mornings 9 to 11, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
The River Cree Resort and Casino presents Bump and Grind Rewind, May 16th, featuring Drew Hill. With Cisco and Genuine, plus DJ Hartman V. Bump and Grind Rewind. Friday, May 16th at the River Cree Resort and Casino. Get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc, we're the experts you need to know.
EST afternoons, Matt Iwanyk, Zachary Koob with you here. And your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, Edmonton Sports Talk. Going to make a little bit of a change in the second hour of the show. I think we're going to have Adam Stanley coming up at 2:05. So as we start the second hour of the show, and then be open for a lot more texts and calls, or texts and messages. Jay's just coming in. What happened? Oh, Scheffler birdied 8. So now he's 6 under. That was based on our bet there. But we'll get to more of the messages into the Nasty Chat in the River Cree inbox. Coming up around, so I guess that'd be 2:20 and 2:40. I got to get used to these times here. I'm used to, when I was always hosting shows, it'd be between 12 and 2. So Joe would start at 12 and then it'd go at 1 o'clock. So got to get used to all of that. We're going to try to connect momentarily here with James Herbert from CBS Sports to talk some association. Oilers taking on the Sharks later tonight, 7:30. Reminder for the roster changes. Ekholm is in. Skinner will back up Pickard tonight, although Skinner will get 2 of the last 3 games. Draisaitl remains out, but will play before the end of the regular season. Frederick might not be ready to play Game 1. Kane, he might be able to play Game 1, but the timeline is to be determined. Also said he didn't want to comment on the possibility of an AHL stint for Kane. Kane would have to agree to the assignment. Wallman is out as he got a little banged up. Nuge is not going to play tonight, but so McDavid will, and the lineup pretty much though the same as we saw a couple nights ago against the St. Louis Blues. We will take a few moments now to talk some NBA as the NBA regular season will come to a close this weekend. That means next week we will get into the play-in tournament as well as then the playoffs will start just after that. And to join us from CBS Sports right now, it is James Herbert. And James, thanks for taking some time out to join us on this afternoon. And I want to start out west, and I want to go to one of the bigger news stories of the week, and that was the Denver Nuggets making a change with Mike Malone out as coach, changed their general manager as well. This is a team that won the NBA title just a couple of years ago. What happened in Denver, and why were these changes possibly necessary just before the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, it was shocking timing. I did not see this one coming, despite the fact that, I think most people around the league, most reporters, and anyone really who followed the situation closely knew there was a rift between Booth and Malone. I think it was just kind of a matter of like how and when that would be resolved. And I'm not sure, just because there's literally no precedent for this, that anybody thought it was going to be resolved by them both being gone with 3 games left in the regular season. Like, this is a team that could still end up having home court advantage in the playoffs. This is a team that honestly, like, yes, they were on a 4-game losing streak. The defense had been rough for a little while. But before Jamal Murray got hurt, and he was playing incredibly well. Jokic has just had another MVP caliber season. Like, the Nuggets at their best, I like, they have been a very good team this year, but I think there are a lot of just kind of issues behind the scenes. I think just defensively, there was some frustration from the players, from the coach. I mean, Malone had kind of ripped the team in a few different post-game press conferences. I think the vibe was off, and they decided, going to make this decision at the end of the year anyway, so why don't we just do it now? Put David Adelman in the head coach's spot and see if maybe the players respond better. And I mean, it's extremely early, obviously, but like the first game they played, I do think they did a couple of things differently. And just hearing the way the players were talking afterward, the way Adelman was talking afterward, like they everybody kind of did acknowledge like they were communicating better in that game than they had earlier on. And I think they kind of got the message from ownership that like more was expected of them, and that they were expected to kind of, play with more joy, play with more connectivity. And we'll see in these final couple of games of the regular season and into the playoffs what that ultimately means for them.
I want to get to the OKC Thunder shortly here, so I'm going to put them aside for now. After the OKC Thunder, who in your eyes is the biggest threat in the West? Is it Denver maybe if they get going? Because they were the champs just 2 years ago. Last year had an amazing regular season. They tied with OKC and then kind of stumbled in the playoffs. Is it the Lakers with the Doncic trade? Is it the Rockets who are sitting second? In your eyes, who would be the best team after OKC?
Yeah, I mean, I could make an argument for all of those teams. I mean, spots 2 through 8 are like unsettled. Or not unsettled, like the Rockets are going to finish 2. The Lakers are all but certainly going to finish 3, but they are separated by so little in the standings. And I think you could pull, members of the coaching staff, players, executives from all of these teams. And I think you get different answers as to who they're most kind of afraid of matching up with. I think a lot of it's going to come down to matchups. As far as who has the highest ceiling, I mean, I like the Warriors at their best. I think they've been extremely impressive since the Jimmy Butler trade. I think they could get to a level on both ends that, you could see them maybe giving the Thunder a scare. I would still confidently pick the Thunder in that series and against any team, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Warriors ended up making it to the conference final. Now, I say that with the caveat that since they lost a game they really shouldn't have on a buzzer beater from Harrison Barnes the other day, they could fall into the play-in, and that could happen even if they win out in their final 2 games. So they need some help here, and obviously if they do end up in the play-in, that just makes their path a lot tougher.
Okay, now let's talk Thunder here. Why are they so good? Like, obviously in Canada, people are going to be watching SGA, but what makes the OKC Thunder so strong, and where would their weakness be if they have one?
I mean, I don't know that they have an obvious weakness. I think if you were to point to one thing that could be a weakness, we're going to have to see how the playoffs play out, but they're not the strongest shooting team if you just kind of look at their personnel and you think about the gravity that these guys have on offense. I think that was sort of what was exposed a little bit in last year's playoffs. I mean, in the second round of the playoffs against Dallas, that was a super tight series. Like they could have won that series. Every game pretty much was really close. But I think the games where they struggled, relatively speaking, it was the offense that fell off. I thought they played really good defense throughout that series. And what the Mavs did was they packed the paint. They sent a lot of help on Shea's drives, and they kind of dared other guys to beat them. And the Thunder didn't shoot particularly well. Jalen Williams didn't have an awesome series. Chet Holmgren didn't have an awesome series. And I think the way that they played offensively spurred some of the decisions they made in the off season. So they play a little bit differently now, like especially when Isaiah Hartenstein is on the court. It's not just a barrage of drive and kicks. It's not just Shea creating and everything flowing from there. Sometimes it is like the Shea Hartenstein pick and roll is really good, but they also play through Hartenstein as one of the best, passing big men in the NBA. I think you've seen Jalen Williams take a step forward offensively this year. I think you've seen Aaron Wiggins, a bench player for them. He's one of the most improved players in the league this year, and you've seen him kind of, be empowered to make more plays off the bounce. I think you've seen some growth from Chet Holmgren. Some of that he's been forced to grow because he's been put in a different position, playing the four with Hartenstein next to him, and those lineups have been really, really interesting. So, I mean, they might be the best defensive team I've ever seen. Their personnel is just like impeccable on that end. And they also have a lot of firepower on offense. But I think if you're looking for something that might be a weakness, it's like, let's see. Like they have tried to address this issue, but we're just going to have to see how they respond to teams that overload Shea, teams that pack the paint, and teams that like dare guys to beat them. Like take somebody like Lou Dort. He's had an amazing season on both ends of the floor. Like, will he knock down threes at a 40-ish% rate in the playoffs? Will teams still be okay with daring him to shoot? Like, we have seen the sort of thing before where a guy shoots really well in the regular season and then in the playoffs it's a bit of a different deal. I think he can make them, but he's going to have to prove that. And I think there's a certain onus on some of the Thunder's other role players, not even role players, even like the Holmgrens and Jalen Williamses of the world. Like, these guys need to come up big in the big moments. They're really young, but they're extremely talented, and I think the regular season suggests they'll be able to do it.
We're with James Herbert from CBS Sports here on EST Afternoons. Out east, who's your favorite right now? Would it be the Cavs? Would it be the Celtics, who were the champs last year? Or would you take someone else?
I think the Cavs have had the best regular season. Depending, like if it is those two teams in the conference finals, the Cavs and the Celtics, I kind of want to know what the relative health of both of these teams are heading into that series, because I think you could make the argument that the Celtics should still be the favorite just based on the way that the roster is constructed and how difficult they are to kind of game plan for. I think their spacing is amazing. The versatility they have on defense. I mean, you saw it. Like there was really nobody who could touch them last year. I think there are also some question marks in terms of just like, I mean, look at Jaylen Brown's health right now. He's not playing a ton of minutes, and when he is out there, he's not playing at the level that he was pre-injury. We're going to have to see if Porzingis holds up for the whole playoff run, if Horford holds up for the whole playoff run. I think Cleveland's actually a deeper team than Boston, but I might prefer Boston to say top 7 to Cleveland, if that makes sense. So I just kind of want to see where they're at going into that potential conference finals series. But yeah, I mean, I do think those are both, there's basically 3 teams that you would look at right now and say these are the top 3 teams in the NBA, and it's those 2 teams, and then it's OKC out west. That's a convoluted answer. The Cavs have had the better regular season, but depending on health and all of that, I mean, I might be inclined to pick the Celtics in the series.
James, I really appreciate the time. Really appreciate the insight. Enjoy the end of the regular season. Maybe we could catch up at some point during the playoffs.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
There's James Herbert. Catch his stuff on CBS Sports or follow him on Twitter at Outside the NBA. Good stuff from James there. It's going to be an exciting end to the regular season. I also find it fascinating that the NBA, I think they start their season after the NHL, or started their season this year after the NHL, as they usually do. And their season's going to come to an end 4 days? Sunday to Thursday, yeah. 4 days before the NHL does. Now, the NHL had the Four Nations break. I'll give them that. So I guess maybe that's the difference there. But at the NBA, we're getting to the playoffs, although both will go for a really long time. This is EST Afternoons. Matt Iwanyk, Zachary Koob Kubusch with you here. Portions of this hour of EST Afternoons, they are brought to you by the Canadian Brewhouse. Make beer cheap again at the Canadian Brewhouse. Molson Canadian Steins for just $4.50. 25% off Monday to Friday. Open until 7 p.m. Round up your crew and stop by the Canadian Brewhouse. The Brewhouse will also be a great spot to go tomorrow or Sunday. They got a great brunch. Go sit there, grab a couple pints, enjoy the Masters. How great of a day would that be? Justin Rose still sitting atop the leaderboard. He's at 8 under. The leaderboard is now just flashing on the screen. So now I got to go to my computer quickly for this one. Bryson DeChambeau, he's a shot back. McIlroy, Connors, and Scheffler, they are 2 shots back. Connors, he's through 11 holes. He's -2 today. He's going to hole 12. I think 15 par 5. No, 13 par 5. I'm pretty sure it's 13. That one you could, depending where the pin placement is and all that, like you should be able to get there in 2. 15 I know is, I've seen Rory get there in 2 today. So there are some strokes to be gained for Corey Connors. We'll have to keep an eye out on him. Scotty Scheffler, what is this putt for? He just parred. So he's going to the back 9, 2 shots back. I think Bronco Nick said the back 9 is playing tougher today than the front 9, but there are those holes that you could go get some strokes maybe. So we're keeping an eye on that. As for the other Canadians, we've got Nick Taylor. He's even on his tournament. That's tied for 32. Mike Weir. At one point, he was going to make the cut, maybe. He's +2. He's got a couple holes left, but Mike Weir looks like he will miss the cut. And Taylor Pendrith, +6. He's going to miss the cut as well. For me, I'm just going to always be a Spieth guy because I want him to get his... I need him to exercise those demons of the year. He dunked it into 12 twice. He was going to have it. Danny Willett ends up being the winner that year, but it would have been Spieth. He's -1 right now. He's got the back 9 coming up right away here. So hopefully he can be in contention.
I feel bad for Pendrith there, though. I picked him for a little pool, I guess, a draft during the Reed Wilkins show. We did a snake draft.
What'd you pick him for? Not to win.
No, just to have him. I don't know exactly. Like, we drafted 4 players.
Who did you have?
I think I had Xander Schauffele, Taylor Pendrith, Bryson DeChambeau, and Rory McIlroy.
Okay, well, so and I think it was a money thing.
What was it?
I thought they said it's like I thought I heard Reed say it's like whoever has the combined money winnings. Like, every golfer gets that makes the cut gets a certain amount of winning, and he was going to like pool it and count all that together, and whoever made more.
Either way, a complete miss on Pendrith.
Well, but yeah, that's going to be a $0. But right now with DeChambeau, McIlroy, and Scheffler, there's some money to be had there.
Oh yeah,
I don't think anyone would have taken Justin Rose.
No, I don't think anybody did.
Well, you've then got 2 of the top 3 golfers.
Let's go.
Well,
Xander Schauffele,
2 of the top 5 golfers because Connors and Scheffler are locked in there.
I wanted Connors, but I needed, you need to take that Canadian angle, right?
Oh, well, that's
pride of the Canadian country.
We'll see what Corey Connors can do. We're going to talk some golf. Adam Stanley, Sportsnet. He's going to come up in just a few minutes, and then we will jump into the River Cree inbox, into the Nasty Chat. That's all to come in the second hour of EST Afternoons. I'm Matt. He's Zach. We'll get to a break. We'll get to a Zach to come sports update, and then we'll talk some Masters with Adam Stanley live from Augusta in just a few minutes.
Get your fix every single game with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Whether it's breaking down the starting lineup, predicting key matchups, or diving deep into the game's biggest moments, Tom and Hernan are here to give you the best insight and analysis in the city. After the final horn, get the breakdown of every key moment, performance, and player reactions. It's your one-stop shop for all things game day. Catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
You've heard the name, but what does it mean? For over 66 years, William Huff Advertising has supplied signage from screen printing to digital to LED with design, production, and install in-house. It's a one-stop shop for all your signage needs. Edmonton owned and operated, William Huff has been trusted by the biggest companies and teams in the City of Champions and many others across the country to do the job. If you're looking for a way to get the word out about your company or event, they are the answer. Go to www.williamhuff.com. Their results speak for themselves.
Celebrate your birthday at the Banquet Bar. Enjoy great drinks, amazing vibes, and unforgettable memories. Download the Banquet app and get a free pizza pie on your birthday. Book your party today at thebanquetbar.com.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
The Oilers need 1 point tonight against the Sharks or a Flames loss to the Wild to clinch a playoff spot. Calvin Pickard starts for Edmonton against the Sharks. Stuart Skinner is a backup during Mattias Ekholm's return to action. Meanwhile, Oilers head coach Chris Knoblauch gave some injury updates, saying that Jake Wallman and Leon Draisaitl are both day-to-day and won't play tonight. Tom Gazzola gets you set for the action during the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show right here on EST. That goes live at 6:30. And if Montreal beats Ottawa in regulation, the Habs will make it to the playoffs for the first time since they were in the 2021 Stanley Cup final. 3 other games on tap, including the Wild looking to clinch with a win of any form over the Flames. At Augusta National, Corey Connors is the highest-ranked Canadian, tied at third place with Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy at 6 under. Connors played 11 holes so far, and Justin Rose still holds first place at 8 under par at the end of his day. In baseball, the Jays and Orioles start a 3-game set with 15 games around the league. And in the NBA, the Raptors challenge the Mavericks. Thunder and Jazz hit the court while the Rockets battle the Lakers on a 15-game slate. I'm Zachary Koob. That was your sports update. The second hour of EST Afternoons starts right now.
We roll on here on EST Afternoons. Matt Iwanyk in for Hernan Salas. Joaquin Gage. Gage will be back on Monday. Hernan will be back on Easter Monday. He's off to Mexico. So much needed rest up before the playoffs. So Matt Iwanyk, Zachary Koob with you here. Adam Stanley from Sportsnet and a golf writer from Canada. He will join us in just a few minutes live from Augusta. We will get into the Nasty Chat and the River Korean Box as we go on through the rest of the hour, as we'll take you to 3 o'clock when Reed Wilkins and Jay Milne will take over with the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. The aptly named Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. And then at 6:30, we've got the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. We've got the postgame show for you tonight. Over the weekend, tomorrow, we do got Hello Hockey at 10 o'clock. We also got the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show and postgame show for you on Sunday, as the Edmonton Oilers will get set to take on the Winnipeg Jets, with Chris Knoblauch saying Pickard's getting the start tonight, and Chris Knoblauch said that Skinner's going to get 2 of the last 4 starts. Well, if tonight's not one of them, you'd have to envision he'd only get 1 of those back-to-backs. I would assume that it's going to be the Sunday. We'll see Stuart Skinner back into the lineup. Again, you could always get in touch with us in the River Cree inbox. That's 780-218-9999, the afternoon inbox, presented by River Cree Resort and Casino. April 18th, it's the Alan Jackson Experience. Get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com or at River Cree box office. I do like this. Coming up May 3rd. It's the Elton Roan tribute to Elton John. Is that not happening?
Ron.
Ron. It is
It's
Ron.
Elton Ron. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, there's the H in there, so I figured maybe it'd be Roan or something.
Yeah, because it's ROHN.
Yes.
I'm actually
so
going
it's
to that
actually
one.
Elton Ron?
Yeah, it's Elton Ron.
Oh, awesome. Oh, I'll have fun at that. I love Elton John. Big
Yeah.
Elton John fan.
Oh, me and my mom are going to that one. It's
for you.
sure to be a blast because
Nice.
she's seen Elton John live, and I guess it's the next best thing, right? One letter difference. Hey.
We've got our next guest on the phone from Augusta. We do got Adam Stanley from Sportsnet, adamstanley.ca, as well as his website, a great Canadian writer of golf. And Adam, appreciate the time. And I want to talk about the golf that's going on, but I got to ask, does it ever get old being at Augusta?
The short answer is no, right? Like I've made my life's singular effort is to cover golf for a living. And, this is the pinnacle, exactly that. So, this is my 5th Masters, and there is obviously sameness each year. It's the same city. It's the same flight I take. It's the same drive. It's the same seat in the media center and all that. By no means is that a complaint. It's more the observation that the nostalgia just like kind of so thick at this place, and all of that sense of sameness kind of makes it so super unique. And when you pinch yourself that you have the opportunity to be able to do, and just because I have had the opportunity to do it a handful of times doesn't mean that it gets any less special or anything like that. So kind of the firm point on that. This is exactly all I've ever wanted to do with my life, and the fact that I get to be here and work is just absolutely tremendous. So, special week, and it's an awesome one.
Have you won the draw? Have you been able to play? Oh, have you won the draw? Have you been able to play there before? Like, have you gotten that media draw to play on the Monday? You've won?
Yeah. So my covering the Masters in 2016. I got drawn to play, so I did manage to make that happen once, which was amazing.
Yeah, no kidding. Very jealous. Let's get into the golf here. Canadian Corey Connors. I just looking up on the scoreboard, seeing that he's maybe had a bogey recently, but he's only 3 shots back right now. Corey Connors, historically, he's actually done quite well at the Masters. 2020, 2021, 2022, better, top 10 finishes. Last couple years, not exactly best, but last year it was the middle rounds that really hurt him. What is it about Corey Connors' game that he's able to find success at Augusta?
Yeah. Corey made a bogey on 10, and then to like literally 3 or 4 inches on 11 to make birdie, and then unfortunately gave it back just on 12, literally just before we got on this call, which was too bad because he was on the green on 12 of 3 putting, I think. So that's too bad. But to your point, he's only 3 shots back, and he's still got the 2 back 9 par 5s to go. So hopefully he can keep chipping away. There's a couple of things that really go well with respect to Corey Connors and Augusta National. This golf course is a second shot golf course, and Corey's essentially one of the best ball strikers on the planet. He's also extremely, extremely improved. This year, 2025, he statistically has been his best putting year ever. So if you combine, the ball hitting being 10 out of 10 and the putting, at least getting 10, if not, almost 6 out of 10 now, you've got a guy who's had a seriously complete body of work, tee to green, and then obviously on the greens as well. So Corey comes into this week in particular with three top 10s on the PGA Tour in his last 4 starts, and all of those top 10s came at extremely comparable ball striker type golf courses. And he's also had 3 top 10s in the last 5 years here at Augusta National. Now, yes, last year was kind of a pedestrian tie for 38th or something like that, and he missed the cut the year prior, but year in and year out, he learns a ton. He knows, and he's fully admitting that yes, this golf course fits his eye. The shots suit his game, sort of stuff. So 8 times he's been here overall, 7 times as a pro. He just keeps learning and learning and learning, and getting more and more comfortable, which is exactly what you need to do to compete here. That's why if you look at the leaderboard, you see Bernhard Langer, 67 years old, Fred Couples, 65 years old. Looks are going to find the weekend here. So experience matters a lot. Corey's got that. And then obviously, as I mentioned off the hop, he's also one of the best ball strikers in the world, which gives you a significant advantage at Augusta National.
He's going to take a lot of the attention up here in Canada, but fellow Canadian Nick Taylor, he's going to be making the weekend. He's even par 73, 71 first, second rounds. Take us through Nick Taylor's first 2 days.
Yeah. I'm glad you asked. Obviously Nick, even the casual sports fan listening to this program, watching this program would know, Nick Taylor won the Canadian Open a couple years ago, right? He just gave us that incredible image, but that dude has struggled at major championships. He hasn't found a weekend at a major in 5 years. He's missed his last 8 cuts at major championships. So that's fully 2 full seasons worth of majors that he hasn't found the weekend at a major, which seems incredibly jarring, seeing as he's won on the PGA Tour each year for the last 3 years. Won the Sony Open earlier this season, of course, won in Phoenix last year, and then obviously, as mentioned, the Canadian Open the year prior. So for a guy that closes so well, and for a guy that just wins, this is this golden generation of Canadians on the PGA Tour, and Nick's won more than any of them. Just the fact that he's had so many struggles at majors seems just super weird. But yesterday, he hung on tight, got into the house at 1 over par, so he was kind of in the mix. And then today, he kind of white knuckled it around a little bit, but he was 2 under through 7 on his 7th hole. He hit it to like 2 feet or something to make a birdie there, and held on, and had really just unfortunate bogey on 18, but clean and clear, and he's off to the races over the weekend. I had a little one-on-one with him after the round, which will be up on sportsnet.ca pretty soon, and he just admitted, like, I wasn't thinking about making the cut because you want to come in here and try to contend and compete, but certainly there was a couple moments in there where he's just thrilled to have the opportunity to play the weekend, keep it rolling. Yesterday he may have been over par, but he was only 5 shots back of second place at 1 over after yesterday. Now he's a little bit further back of the lead now, but if that lead is just in single digits under par heading in the weekend, there's no real reason why he couldn't go 3 under, 5 under, 4 under, 4 under, something like that, and kind of climb himself back into in a contention here. But I'll leave you with just kind of what Nick told me. He's like, listen, you can't compete on the weekend if you don't make the weekend. So, kind of an objective 1 has been achieved by him for sure.
Justin Rose, he sits atop still at this moment. 7 under first round. Today goes 1 under. This leaderboard, a lot of names up there: DeChambeau, McIlroy, Hatton, Scheffler, Lowry. Like it's shaping up to be a really good weekend, especially if you're a casual golfer fan and you're looking for the names. What are the chances you think Justin Rose is going to be able to hold on through over the course of the next? Well, we'll see how the rest of today plays out, but over the course of the weekend, you think the Englishman is going to find a way, or who would you like to who have you liked so far that maybe will catch Rose and put on the green jacket?
Yeah, I mean, two great questions. I mean, I think Justin Rose has obviously proved that there is something about this particular golf course that he gets, that just gets along with his game so well. He may be 44 years old, but I think the big stat that was pulled from yesterday is that he's had the lead after 18 holes 5 times in his career at the Masters, which is the most out of anyone in the history of the tournament. So clearly he gets off to good starts, but holding on is going to be the real challenge. Now, just because he is in his mid-40s, hasn't really lost, a step per se, but it's going to be interesting to see how he maybe mentally handles being in the mix, not just at a major, but with a chance to win, just generally on the PGA Tour. That's just not something that he's done or kind of seen in a very long time. So, he is a major champion and he's kind of been there and done that. Ryder Cup hero, I could go on and on. But you look at who is starting to shift into 3rd gear, 4th gear, and starting to make this climb. The defending champion, Scottie Scheffler, Bryson DeChambeau, the most popular person in the game, obviously defending U.S. Open champion, played really well at the Masters last year. Ludwig Åberg, I think, is in the mix a little bit as well. Finished 2nd in his debut at the Masters last year. Shane Lowry, maybe the best set of hands out of anyone on the PGA Tour. You got to be a short game wizard to play well here at Augusta, and he is exactly that. And obviously Corey, like I mentioned, Corey's got the 2 par 5 still, and who knows how much he could climb up the board. But Rory McIlroy, oh man, I think that's the name that I've got a real eye on for the next 2 days for a variety of reasons, but specifically because he bounced back so impressively today. after, completely throwing up on himself on the back nine yesterday with those 2 double bogeys. So, he shot 6 under today, could have been a little bit deeper, but he's obviously got all the tools to do it. He seems very kind of at peace and at ease with things, and the fact that he bounced back so impressively after last night's real struggle coming in the house was super impressive to me.
You mentioned that Nick Taylor piece coming up, sportsnet.ca. How can people follow you throughout the course of the next few weekends and throughout the golf season to get more information?
Yeah, so, obviously, I'm Sportsnet's golf reporter, so sportsnet.ca/golf is pretty much where all my stuff's going to be, whether it be video or written stuff. And I post everything I do on Twitter at Adam_Stanley. So that's where I'll be. That's where you can find my stuff.
Adam, appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of round 2 and the rest of the weekend at the Masters.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
There's Adam Stanley from Sportsnet. He mentioned his Twitter handle there, Adam_Stanley. Also has a website, adamstanley.ca, if you're looking to follow him a little bit closely. Great stuff. Great Canadian writer. And very jealous of him. And I got to play it. He's one of those people. He's got to play it. I know James Duthie's played it. Former Edmonton Journal and Vancouver Sun columnist Cam Cole. He played it, I believe, 3 times. It's a dream of mine to go cover it, just to go try to play it. And I got to start going. I got to start getting my media accreditation, and every year just travel. Friday night, head there, be there for 2 days. I don't even have to take, I'd have to take 1 day off of work. If I win the draw, play Monday. If not, I come back. I got to start doing that because I want, it's weird being in media. Like, if you're not in media, you basically don't have a shot in life to play Augusta. It would be such a rare opportunity. But in media, you get an accreditation. If you just somehow get that part and you go cover the Masters, you are in a draw to go play it. It is the weird part is being media, there's actually a chance I could go play it. I got to start doing it.
So how does that draw work? Is it only one single member of the media who
they have
goes,
a few
or how
people.
many?
So they keep the pins in the same spot from the Sunday. So you get to golf the championship pins. And I don't know how many people get drawn. There's a fair amount. If you win the draw, you're not eligible for the draw for another, I think it's 7 years.
I was going to ask that. Yeah.
So that's why, so Cam Cole was lucky enough to win it 3 times, but you win it and then you're out of the draw. James Duthie, because I remember asking him a few years ago, I'm like, hey, when you back in? And he was back in. James could go into the draw and win it again and possibly go golf it.
Which is wild. That would be amazing.
So yeah, and you get a caddy and then the great stories about it. I don't know how many people. Let me see how many reporters can win Masters draw.
Because I'm curious, do you go golf it at the same time as there'll be other members of the media out there? Do you golf with them, or you
just go on the Monday?
So okay,
if this is it, it says the 40 or so lucky winners tee off from the members' tees on the 1st and 10th hole starting at 7:10. So 40-ish, they get to go the next morning. And they do it from the members' tees. Obviously, they're not telling you don't get to play the champions' tees. So you play a little closer up. I think you get a caddy.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Well, you need one. That's what Duthie has told me. You need a caddy because you will sit there at the greens and you won't know what's going to happen. Or the caddy will be like, this is what's going to happen here. This is aim over here. Put a lot, because the average person has no clue on those
greens are amazing. I saw a video of it where it's just, there's such a small portion that's flat on any of the greens, and it's genius. Because you have to aim, you have to overshoot to try and miss the obstacles. But now you're also putting it where, okay, well, if I hit here, it'll roll down 40 yards or 40 feet, and there goes the shot.
Yeah, and you'll just be there all day. So they have a caddy there to help you through it. So I just got to start going to cover this. And Murray, we've got the red eye to Atlanta. I could fly. I could go red eye tonight. Be there 6 a.m, get to Augusta for 11, go see the rest of round 3, go spend the night, go cover the championship rounds. If I don't win, there's a 6 o'clock flight back to Edmonton on the Monday morning. If I don't win, I'm on that flight. I'm back here for Tuesday. Actually, I could probably switch spots with Jay and be on the show with Reed, be here in time. Or if I win, cancel the flight or move it. Do it the next day and just go golf it. I got to start doing this. Why am I not doing this?
I want to see that happen.
How great would that be?
Next year.
Oh, I got to Corey Connors was going for birdie at it. 6 under. Corey Connors back to 2 back. He birdies 13. So now he's got 15 coming up. There's a chance at 15 to gain some strokes. So Corey Connors only 2 back. We got to talk some Oilers. That's coming up. Also got to figure out what's going on with something that was happening here at the office. I don't know if Zach's going to fully know, but we're going to get into that. This is EST Afternoons. Matt Iwanyk, Zachary Koob with you here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Your comments into the River Cree inbox, 780-218-9999, or in the Nasty Chat. That is coming up next. Here's Zach with the Sports Update.
Mattias Ekholm slots back in for the Oilers against the Sharks. Stuart Skinner returns, adds the backup for Calvin Pickard with Jake Wallman and Leon Draisaitl day-to-day. Tune into the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show at 6:30 alongside Tom Gazzola as he tees up the action right here on EST. And there's 4 other games on tap. Montreal with a chance to clinch the final playoff spot in the East with a win over the Senators in regulation. Minnesota can also clinch with a win over the Flames, while the Red Wings battle the Lightning and the Pens meet the Devils. Meanwhile, Avs captain Gabriel Landeskog will play his first hockey game since 2022, dressing for the AHL Eagles to kick off a conditioning stint for the Avalanche. At the Masters, Justin Rose holds top spot at 8 under par at the end of round 2, while Canadian Corey Connors has taken a step back. He's tied for 5th at 5 under par through 12 holes in round 2. In baseball, the Jays and Orioles kick off a 3-game set, 15 games on tap on the court. Toronto visits Dallas. Magic and Pacers tip off, while the Cavs and Knicks throw down on a 15-game NBA schedule. This sports update is brought to you by Gimme Virtual Golf, with 240 unique courses and technology that automatically tees the ball up for you. Gimme Virtual Golf is where innovation meets the game. Visit their website at gimevirtualgolf.ca. EST Afternoons returns on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Koob for your sports update.
The River Cree Resort and Casino presents Bump and Grind Rewind, May 16th, featuring Drew Hill. With Cisco and Genuine, plus DJ Hartman V. Bump and Grind Rewind. Friday, May 16th at the River Cree Resort and Casino. Get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com.
Love is in the air.
I love you.
And you? And you? And you! Why choose between your beloved items? Sentinel Storage, keeping your treasures safe to be loved again. Try 4 weeks free. Details at sentinelstorage.ca.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
Strike up some fun at the Banquet Bar. Bowling, drinks, and a great time with friends where the good times roll. Whether you're here to bowl or just hang out, the Banquet Bar is your go-to spot. Get real, play hard at the Banquet.
Got some gently used furniture or home goods that need a new home? Find Edmonton is here to help. Every month we furnish over 100 homes to those transitioning out of homelessness, and we need your gently used furniture and home goods. Drop off at 5120 122nd Street or call for free local pickup. Just visit findedmonton.com to learn how your donations can help create a home for someone in need. Plus shop our thrift store, in-store or online, with proceeds benefit those moving out of homelessness through housing supports. Visit us at findedmonton.com. Find Edmonton, supporting our community one home at a time.
Step closer to the heart.
2:24 EST afternoons here on your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, Edmonton Sports Talks. Thanks to everyone for listening to us on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Tune in iHeartRadio for those watching on YouTube, as well as those listening on podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Click that thumbs up button on YouTube. Do it for Gager. Do it for Hernan. Do it for Zach. Do it for Corey Connors, who's only 2 back at the Masters. Oilers, Sharks coming up later tonight. 6:30, GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Tommy, Zach. Do you have any idea who's on tonight?
I do not know.
Oh, okay. I don't know if Cass is on yet. I know he's been unable to do some of them here or there. So I don't know if you're gonna have Gage or Belzy with you.
Either way, it'll be a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got Pickard starting tonight. Ekholm's back in the lineup. No Nuge, no Draisaitl. We will get into a little bit more Oilers discussion here. That was Whale and the Wolf as it came back. May 31st, you get a Edmonton local show. They'll be at Rocky Mountain Ice House on Jasper, just off 104th Street. No, it isn't 104th. That's Jasper and 106th or something like that. A local show. They're going to play some new tunes off their next album. So before it even comes out, you can listen to it at the Rocky Mountain Ice House. Go check them out at Whale and the Wolf on Instagram. I think their website is just Whale and the Wolf as well. Yeah, whaleandthewolf.com. If you want to go see Whale and the Wolf, that's a show hopefully I will be at myself as well. I'm sure there might be a few people from EST down at that show. Okay, before we get into Oilers, actually, we're in the William Huff studio. Since 1952, William Huff has provided industry-leading advertising solutions for thousands of valued clients. Their unparalleled customer service combined with decades of industry expertise and a desire to make every job the very best it could be is why they call it the William Huff Advantage. Visit their website, williamhuff.com, or give them a shout, 780-454-4536. They make our office look absolutely incredible. I got to get into just a quick conversation here that came up for the morning show that I'm not fully aware of, but I got to get to this. And I guess Zach needs to have a chance to respond, I guess, if you will. So today there's issues of putting beer of the week in our fridge, our little beer fridge that we have. Everyone knows the size of a mini fridge and stuff. And blaming pop for being in the fridge. Blaming the pop for being in the fridge. And now there's a sign that says no pop allowed, CEO Dustin Nilsson. Did you not see that sign?
I saw the sign, okay. Yeah, but I'm curious. So there was an issue. What
I don't know what this is. I thought maybe, do you know of anything that's going on? Well, about the idea of having pop in a beer fridge. And is this a taboo thing?
Well, I guess I'll start with the beer of the week thing. We had a delivery yesterday for the beer of the week, I believe today. And, I picked up the flat and I brought it in towards the fridge. Now, I said, hey, I just put it near the fridge. I didn't put it in the fridge myself.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but Bryce the Sparky is here. And I've always said he was a winner of a hockey heavy showdown. If you ever come by, you could drink out of the cup. Tommy's not allowed to, but he is because he played and he's doing it right now.
What?
That's what I'm talking about. You could come on screen if you want to do this on screen, Bryce. You've earned this. You were part of the team. Get in that camera. Actually, do the wide shot here, Zach.
Hold on. Yeah.
Let's get the wide. There's the wide shot. Yeah, the camera's up there above. Yeah, people will see this. Bryce the Sparky in here, part of the championship of the Heavy Hockey Showdown, EST. Anytime, anyone that was on that team, you come by, you could drink out of that.
Oh, that's
He's doing
fantastic.
So well done, Bryce. Well done, Bryce. Congratulations.
Let's go.
For him. Sorry to interrupt there, Zach, but I was seeing that. And it's like we had to get to that.
Of course.
Okay, but beer of the week. So you brought it to the fridge. Were they mad at you that they didn't put it in the fridge?
I said, hey, I brought it to the fridge. Like I put it over here. I didn't say I put it into the fridge because I did not do. I didn't even know it was for today. It turns out it must have been.
We didn't know what it was for when it first came.
I didn't put it into the fridge. So I just put it near and around the fridge because we have a whole multitude of drinks. And to be honest, I'm not drinking any of the beer. I'm not going to go in and put it in the fridge. That's just me, right? I had to get to work. It was me and Hernan on the show, so I was a bit lazy. I didn't put any of it in the fridge because usually it's full and stuff like that. And go to your taboo point. I don't think it's taboo to put pop in the fridge. It gives options to people who come here to the studio, right?
Yeah, no. Well, it's not that part. We never put the beer of the week in the fridge. once beer goes in the fridge, there's a risk of we're going to lose it. Usually, like it's either the night before someone will throw it in, or I know Eric will do it in morning of.
Exactly.
So I don't think that's an issue. Here's why I have no problem with the pop in the fridge. Is that for me? Oh, well. Oh, okay. The reason I have no issue with pop in the fridge, there's a couple of reasons. One, so a lot of the cans we get are tall boys. They don't fit in the spot where you put the pop.
Exactly.
That top container. Also, like there's been some beer, not a lot. There's some beer in that fridge that has not moved in months.
That has been there probably.
We put in
I was
other
on
drinks.
Practical.
Yeah, we drink those, but there's a couple that have sat in there that we have not been just grabbed. So to complain about maybe no room, disagree. There's ways around that. And two, I will even go if you just not even just one pop, because I think the explanation is there's another fridge over here that you could put pop in. I don't always just feel like, what if you want to mix?
Exactly.
What if it's for the mix? Yeah. We're not a place here that just has beer. We have some other things. So maybe it's used for, you don't do it for a mix, but
right.
I don't. I think on this, I would not. The pop should not be in the main area of it. On the door, if you have a couple of cans of pop, I don't see anything wrong with that.
And it's only at the top shelf of it too, right? There was yogurt in there. Like there were other things that were not beer that I did not put in there. I have 3 or 4 pops in there. I actually cracked one during the break, some Pepsi cream soda. But I just have a variety in there, and sure, if somebody, comes to the studio, if they want a water, we don't have any waters in the fridge, to be frank. It is a beer fridge, but
now they're getting
cold
put
waters.
into the other,
Oh,
I think
okay,
the
well,
main
there we
fridge. But the water bottles don't fit where you're putting the pop.
Yeah.
I know, a lot of the stuff that we get beer-wise, it's the tall boys. They don't fit in that spot.
And if you want a certain beer, you put it in the fridge.
I have no problem with a couple cans of pop in a beer fridge.
It takes
Don't put it into the main area of it. Like as soon as you open the door where you look in, that should be beer. But on the side, on the door, I don't know why there'd be any issues.
It gives options for sure. And I don't dabble in the wobbly pops anymore. So I'm not messing with whoever went in there and wanted to make the assortment of beers. I sort of just have that one little corner.
Well, they're saying like put the beer pop over here, but I don't know.
Then I have to run a little bit farther during a break, right? I'm on there for 5 hours, right? I might have to.
I bet that one's a more communal. That somebody might take that one too.
Yeah, I don't trust Hernan in there. He's taken the bubblies, so also, I kind of have my hidden stash, and he's not listening right now.
Maybe some of the other people that are taking that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what's going on in there.
I don't count.
Jasmine in the nasty chat. Remember when Hernan blocked me in the nasty chat on the Reed Wilkins show, and then bleeped off to vacation? What happened there? I missed that.
So
before you continue, happy birthday, Jasmine.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yes, it's Jasmine's birthday today. It was her birthday week, but today's her birthday. Have fun. I don't know if tonight she was going or this weekend she's going to the restaurant. But have a great time with that. So Jasmine, happy birthday to you. And what happened with her? Did he mean to?
I did. I texted him during a break. I was like, so she was kicked out of the nasty chat.
Yeah.
We have the power to moderate in the YouTube chat. We can, I guess, ban people, quote unquote, for like up to 24 hours. If they say something silly, we might ban them for 10 minutes. Put them in a timeout, it's called, right? And during the Reed Wilkins show with from 3 to 6 yesterday at about 4 o'clock, I looked in the nasty chat and Jasmine's name was grayed out, and it said Hernan put her into a 30-second thousand timeout, which is the equivalent of like 24 hours or whatever. And I was very confused. So I text Hernan. He's no longer here. He's getting ready for his flight or whatever. I'm like, Hernan, why did you put Jasmine into a timeout? And he said, well, I'm driving right now. I didn't put her into a timeout. So that's as far as it goes. Okay. That's as far as it goes for me. That's all I know. But
okay, this is weird.
The smart Reed actually went back to and reverted it, gave her a 10-second timeout, and she was out of jail, I guess, free card.
This has happened twice with 2 other listeners. I don't know if they're aware of it, but it's happened during the Hangout. I've just looked at, because I texted the pictures to him, like, why are you doing this? And he's like, it wasn't me. But it says by Hernan. So he must be doing something accidentally. He must be clicking something accidentally. But it's always him, and he's done it with a few people. That's very interesting to me.
He could misclick. Like I've done that before.
Or maybe he's just messing with people. Maybe he's doing this on purpose. Like, I don't know what's going on. But he's actually trying to mess. And it's always like, it's the certain people that you're like, oh, those really? Huh.
Yeah.
Brian Hernan does like a beer with his smoke. They do go hand in hand. Maybe he's just doing that and he's not really looking at his phone close enough and he's just clicking the wrong things. That's interesting.
Well, and he's off to vacation too, right? He doesn't get any of the flack for it because now he's gone. He's clearly not listening to us. He's probably watching White Lotus or reading an F1 book right now.
Oh, White Lotus was so good. 10-, the yogurt changes things. I'm assuming this is coming to the beer fridge. I'm assuming maybe that wasn't mentioned on the morning show today as well.
Yeah, they don't.
There
like
is
to
a yogurt there. I don't know whose
yeah.
yogurt that is. It's been there for a very long time. I have my own mini fridge. I use my own mini fridge.
And to be fair,
that's the pleasure of having an office is I can put my own things in there. So I went and bought my own mini fridge and I have my own that I don't focus on that. But that yogurt I think has been there for quite some time. Is that yours?
Honestly, I don't remember. It might have been out and about, but it was put there. Not by me, but it was put there somehow. It was on the table in the bullpen, I guess, area. And I may have put it in there because it was somebody's who needed to be refrigerated. It's not, chocolate milk. You're not going to put warm chocolate milk out. As for Trev, weird, he confessed that he drinks warm chocolate milk, lets it out. He doesn't just heat it up. Anyways, yeah, there's more than just beer in the beer fridge. Let's put it like that.
Corey B in the nasty chat. Whoa, what the heck? And I think he was in picking up a prize, and I think he's wondering about the trophy. Corey, you just come in and say, hey, I want to drink out of that, and we'll get you set up for that. Next time you're around, we'll do that for you. We'll get you going. Don't you worry. I was doing the show, and all of a sudden Bryce just grabbed it, and he was drinking out of it. That's those that won it. Those that were part of the team.
And if you want to, you can drink pop out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. EST members, you're allowed outside of Tom Gazzola. Tommy's not allowed. That we've absolutely have just determined. Scotty knows. I have definitely looked down at my phone and saw that I was about to block a report someone accidentally. Good thing I don't have admin though. But the thing is, Hernan's now done it at least on 3 separate occasions. Something's going on here. But now he's on vacation. We'll find out when he comes back. The Edmonton Oilers, they'll be taking on the San Jose Sharks tonight. Ekholm returns, as I've mentioned at the start of the segment. Pickard will get the start. 6:30, GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Tommy, Zach will get you set for the game. The Oilers need one more point or the Calgary Flames to lose one more point, and they will officially clinch their spot into the NHL playoffs. The Flames, they're taking on the Minnesota Wild tonight, which is actually going to be a crucial game because who do the Blues have this weekend? The Blues will play, I'm thinking tomorrow because they don't play tonight. The St. Louis Blues tomorrow get the Kraken. They're in Seattle to take on the Kraken. The Wild are in Vancouver to take on the Canucks tomorrow after they battle the Flames tonight. The Oilers are in the playoffs. They're 4 points back of the Kings for second in the Pacific. The Kings will hold the tiebreaker. So the Oilers are effectively 2.5 games back of the Kings with 4 games to go if they want a home ice. The Flames currently looking for that playoff spot. They have 2 games in hand on the St. Louis Blues. They take care of business and take those 2 games. That would make them only 1 point back of the St. Louis Blues. The rest of the way, the Calgary Flames tonight get the Minnesota Wilds. They get the San Jose Sharks. They then get Vegas on Tuesday, who might be in resting player mode. And they get the LA Kings on Thursday, who most likely will be in resting player mode. The St. Louis Blues, as I said, they get the Kraken tomorrow. They get Utah on Tuesday. What's the chance here that the St. Louis Blues, their luck has run out? They drop 4 straight, and the Calgary Flames go on a little bit of a run here and sneak their way into the playoffs. I actually, as much as I don't want the Flames to do well, I think that'd be a pretty funny storyline, though, to follow. I will throw that one out there. So that will be an interesting thing to watch. But as for Oiler fans, it's a 1 point. That's your magic number. We'll get more into Oilers and Sharks when we come back here on EST Afternoons. Matt Iwanyk in for Hernan and Gager alongside Zach. He's got a sports update coming up in mere seconds. We have a break, and then we'll wrap up EST Afternoons for this week. Here's Zach with a sports update here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your choice for Edmonton Sports.
With the Flames loss to the Wild tonight, or if the Oilers get 1 point against the Sharks, Edmonton will clinch another playoff berth. Stuart Skinner returns to the bench as the backup to Calvin Pickard in that one. Mattias Ekholm also slots back in. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Jake Wallman, and Leon Draisaitl will not play. Tom Gazzola goes live for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show to preview the action right here on EST. Tune in an hour before puck drop at 6:30. And other teams are looking to clinch. The Canadiens, if they beat the Senators in regulation, will make it back to the playoffs for the first time since 2021. And Minnesota will clinch as well if they beat the Flames in any fashion. On the links, Canadian Corey Connors is tied for third place, 6 under through 13 holes in round 2, sitting 2 points back from Justin Rose, who continues to hold top spot from the clubhouse. 15 games around the MLB. The Jays and Orioles opener has been pushed back and postponed due to inclement weather. That game has been rescheduled for July 29th, booking a doubleheader for the two teams. Basketball sees 15 games. Raptors challenge the Mavericks, and the Thunder and Jazz hit the court while the Rockets battle the Lakers. The final segment of EST Afternoons brings us back on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Koob, and you're up to date.
The Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne.
Grady Hahn, Sharks play-by-play voice, joining us.
Last year, you were talking about a blueprint of the future, and it's a whole different vibe this year. It's been so much better this year, and there's been so much team improvement this year. It's a cool thing, and it translates even to the older guys. I mean, if you talk to Tyler Toffoli, he'll tell you, this is fun.
The Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne, weekday afternoon, 3 to 6, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
The River Cree Resort and Casino presents Bump and Grind Rewind, May 16th, featuring Drew Hill. With Cisco and Genuine, plus DJ Hartman B. Bump and Grind Rewind. Friday, May 16th at the River Cree Resort and Casino. Get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com.
You've heard the name, but what does it mean? For over 66 years, William Huff Advertising has supplied signage from screen printing to digital to LED with design, production, and install in-house. It's a one-stop shop for all your signage needs. Edmonton owned and operated, William Huff has been trusted by the biggest companies and teams in the City of Champions and many others across the country to do the job. If you're looking for a way to get the word out about your company or event, they are the answer. Go to www.williamhuff.com. Their results speak for themselves.
Play more tables and games. Play more tables and games. Make the most of your bad game. Oh, you want to, you need to, you know just what you gotta do. It's time to add some fun to your life. Make the most of your bad game. Play more tables and games. PlayMoreGames.ca.
Welcome back to EST Afternoons. Iwanyk, Zachary Koob with you here on Edmonton Sports Talk, a clear choice for Edmonton sports. We're, 17 minutes away from 3 o'clock, which means the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne right here on EST. On the show today, I know Jed Roberts, I know Tom Gazzola. Am I missing anything, Zach, that you're aware of? Obviously, a lot of Oilers Sharks discussion.
I don't think so.
Beautiful.
No, I think it'll be, Jed Roberts. He's a beauty.
Off-topic topic. There was a good off-topic topic that we were discussing before EST Afternoons. I don't know if that's the one they're going to bring on the air. It's a great discussion. I hope that's the one they did. But if not, it's usually a great discussion when it comes to the off-topic topic. That's coming up from 3 until 6. We'll get to Oilers. We'll run through the news of the Oilers right away here. I do want to jump at some point this segment as well back into the River Cree inbox. The afternoon inbox is presented by River Cree Resort and Casino. Happy hours, 525 drinks available Sunday to Thursday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. The Kitchen Restaurant, Sunday and Mondays, 50% off the entire menu available Sunday and Mondays, 5 p.m. to close. That's at River Cree Resort and Casino. For the Edmonton Oilers tonight, As we've mentioned, Ekholm back in the lineup. Skinner will be back, but he'll back up Pickard. Skinner then will get 2 of the last 3 games. The starting goalie for the playoffs to be determined. This according to Chris Knobloch. Draisaitl still was out. He will play before the end of the regular season. Trent Frederick might not be able to play game 1, but Kane, he might be. His timeline, though, to be determined. As for Kane and a conditioning stint, Knobloch didn't want to comment on that possibility, saying Kane would also have to agree to the assignment. Oilers Sharks tonight, Oilers Jets Sunday, Oilers Kings Monday, Oilers Sharks Wednesday. That will wrap up the Edmonton Oilers regular season. We'll move on to the playoffs. I'll get to this day in sports momentarily. Krager into the River Cree inbox. Oh, and there's another one. Large fridge for the EST office equals tax write-up. And then this text comes in. First-time texter. This is Jasmine's mom wishing her happy birthday. So Jasmine, your mom has texted in to wish you a happy birthday. Jasmine, happy birthday from your mother, which is awesome. Oh, yeah, I didn't. Oh, I see what that's for. He dropped that off and he said, no, that's fair. I was supposed to read it during the commercial break and I forgot that was even there. Zach, I'm going to give you like 2 minutes here before we get to this day in sports history. UFC 314 tomorrow. Is that the number?
Yes, 314 is not 314.
Well, I just don't know if it was 350, like if it was 314.
Yeah, good one.
Quick thoughts.
Well, I think it's should be a good card. Sometimes these UFC, these titled numbered events are a miss, unfortunately, which always happens in sports. There could be a highly anticipated matchup, but this one should be good. The big fights that I'm seeing here, Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. And Paddy the Batty, he's a really recognizable figure. He's a fighter who he wins and then he like eats himself. He gorges himself almost to death. Like he gets to like 220. This guy fights at 185, I think 170 or something like that. It's insane the amount of food this guy can eat once he wins a fight. And he's just an exciting, entertaining fighter. He's got a submission over King Green recently, and he's just absolutely been rolling. Michael Chandler is an electric fighter. I think he's on like 3 or 4 fight slide, but anytime this guy steps in the octagon, you know it's sure to be a good bout. That one is the co-main event. And then first-ranked Alexander Volkanovski against third-ranked Diego Lopez. This one is going to be fantastic. Lopez, he's got submissions, he's got hands, and he's up and coming against a veteran who lost his belt and has been on a couple fight slides. So it's either, the previous champ is going to step up and become a contender, which he is right now. A contender once again, though, for the belt, the next in line. Or Diego Lopez is going to take another step up. So UFC 314 is looking to be a good one.
Thank you for that. You said a lot of things that I didn't know about the names and stuff. Right. It's also Hawk's birthday in the Nasty Chat. So happy birthday to Hawk as well. This day in sports history. A lot of this day in sports history are people who have won Masters on this day.
Yeah. Jack Nicklaus was a big one, right?
Did he?
Yeah, he won 65 and then 66 on this same day. He was the first golfer to win back-to-back Masters.
Sev won second of his 3 on this day. Ron Hextall scored a goal against the Capitals on this day in sports history.
1989?
Yes.
First goalie to score a playoff goal.
Bernard Langer, imagine playoffs on April 11th. Bernard Langer, who's playing in his last Masters today, probably going to miss the cut after a bad showing on 15. He won his second green jacket. I love it. Phil actually won his first major, which was the green jacket at the Masters in 2004. He then went on and won it again in 2010, which was his third green jacket. So 2 of his green jackets were won on the exact same day. Hideki Matsuyama also became a Masters champion in 2021. The other thing, which there's 2 other things I find very fascinating, like important things. Gordie Howe played his final NHL game at 52 years and 10 days old on this day in sports history. And in 1947, Jackie Robinson became the first black player in Major League Baseball history, played at an exhibition game for the then Brooklyn Dodgers. So that's your this day in sports history.
Also, 1936 at the Maple Leaf Gardens, The Red Wings won their first Stanley Cup championship in a game, 3-2 game. They won 3-1 in the series. And in 2023, the Bruins broke the record for the most team points in a single season at 133 points, beating the Capitals.
Going to be a fun weekend in sports. Lots to get to on Monday. We will obviously have the Jets game as well for the Oilers. We'll preview the Kings coming up. F1 weekend, Bahrain. That's going to be fun. It's the earlier starts too. Maybe Gager won't ruin it in our group chat.
I was going to say, yeah. It'll be 9 a.m. instead of 11 p.m. like it was at the Japanese Grand Prix.
And I do like the night one. It's better. I'd prefer the 9 a.m. than the 6. Like, actually, I'll say this. Gager has every right. Okay, I go back to the big issue was he first went after Hernan and then called out the spoiler. I think someone has to be out like at 9 a.m. Sorry, watch it. Unless somebody actually outright goes into the group chat and goes, hey, don't spoil this for me. I think anyone else is eligible to spoil it, just not Gager. Because of what he did to Hernan. And I want him to apologize to Hernan publicly on Monday when I'm with him on EST afternoons.
Well, you want to have Hernan hear it, though, right?
Well, at least when he comes back, I could be like, Hernan, this is what we got from Gage. Or at the very least, I want him to be like, I'm going to apologize to Hernan about that. I was wrong. You guys, you caught me on that one. I get it.
That's the least he could do.
I don't think we're going to get that from Gager.
I might have to text in the group chat and say, I don't want it spoiled because I don't think I'm going to be up that early on a Saturday.
At 9 a.m.?
No, wait. I love sleeping in.
How far do you sleep in?
Depends on the day, Matty. Well, I'll be here late tonight.
Update at the Masters. Justin Rose, he's still atop the leaderboard. One shot up on Bryson DeChambeau. Our bet for Scotty Scheffler to be second or top is, Jay, wave that arm. Wave that arm. Well, you got us all into this, and now we only had $35 left. Scotty Scheffler -4. Oh, he got a lucky bounce there. He's not getting the top of the leaderboard after the end of the round 2. Our boy Corey Connors. That's who we should have bet on to be at the top of the leaderboard at the end of round 2. Aren't we Canadian, brah? He's 2 back. He's on 15. That is 15 is a hole today that looks to be you could get a birdie. I saw Rory get on in 2 today. Long putt. I don't know. I think he ended up birdieing. He did birdie the hole. For Corey Connors, there is a chance to, it's going to be difficult on 16, 17, 18. It's Connors is, going to 15 right now. So it's going to be tough to get any more strokes gained today. If he could go grab a birdie, he might end today at only 1 back of the lead, tied with DeChambeau for second, which would be absolutely incredible. We had Adam Stanley on earlier to break down why Corey Connors seems to have good success at Augusta. So Canadian in contention. The Canadian golfers, if we go over the last 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. I got to remember what happened before Nick Taylor's big win at the Canadian Open, which was going to be 2 years ago, the anniversary this June. We've had a lot of Canadians win on the PGA Tour over the last number of years. With how good those guys have been playing, I think there's a good chance that it's not far off that we're going to see a Canadian win a major, I think, if they're winning some. And because it's not just small events that they're winning. It's not even just the Canadian Open, although at the time, the Canadian Open, it's been getting some good names. Was it Nick Taylor who won the WM Phoenix Open, which is a pretty big event? Yeah. He was there. So, there's going to be a time again that we're going to be able to cheer a Canadian winning a major. And who cares about the U.S. Open? The Open would be fun. Who cares about the PGA Championship? Seeing another Canadian put on the green jacket, that would be great. So we'll see what Corey Connors can do over the course of the rest of this week. And as I said, we've got Hello Hockey tomorrow at 10 o'clock. We will have you covered for Oilers Jets on Sunday. Monday as a station, we'll have you recapping the weekends. We'll recapping Oilers Jets, but also getting you set for Oilers and Kings. But tonight, the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show, 6:30. Tommy and Zach will get you set for Oilers and Shark. But before then, It's the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. They'll get you covered talking Oilers. They've got Tom Gazzola. They've got Jed Roberts. They've got a lot to happening. And it's a Friday. Those boys are going to have a fun show. That's coming up here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Thank you to everyone for tuning into EST Afternoons. I'd like to thank our guests, James Herbert from CBS Sports and Adam Stanley from Sportsnet. Thanks to all you nasties, again, for tuning in. On behalf of Zach, who did a wonderful job on the other side of the camera, I'm Adam Iwanyk. Have a wonderful weekend. Again, thanks for tuning in. I will chat with you Monday on The Hangout. Bye now.